All right.
Damn. Here I thought I was gonna get to go curl up into bed.
This is EverCast episode number 55. I will not try and sing, but we have titled it Changes. Dealing with the changes coming to Landmark. Again, this is EverCast and EverQuest Next and Landmark podcast coming to you live every Sunday at 5 Eastern, 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern, something like that.
Yes.
I am one of your weekly hosts, Tanlin. With me are our two other weekly hosts, Kailas on this side and Lucy on this side.
Hello.
I've already mentioned I'm not feeling good, so if I seem a little woo, wait, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
I love you too, babe.
Mm-hmm. So, going right into ECAST news, it's pretty obvious that we're missing one of our other weekly hosts. Gladys literally got a family emergency that came up this afternoon, keeping him from joining us this evening, this afternoon. We should see him back in the regular time slot next week. What other ECAST news we have this week, guys? Anything big happen?
Oh my god! I finished my freaking order today with the help of Tanlin. I can now ship 646 skeins of yarn to one business and be like, fuck it, I'm done. Night, bitches.
Congratulations.
I kind of meant with Landmark or EverQuest Next.
I started building again.
What'd you start building?
I was going through my templates from just like random things that I had picked up from other people at swap meets or from friends and everything like this, and I saw this cute little like curved bridge. And when I first started playing, I was awful with curves. Awful. I didn't know how to make them. I didn't know how they worked. I didn't understand how you made circles with squares, but you can. So I was like, I wonder if I can make this. And so I remade it. And obviously, since it was an extremely early beta template that I had, I improved on it. And I was like, oh, I'll make it a covered little bridge. And it just kept going and going. I built a little canal system underneath them. And it was fun. I keep wanting to say the Kinos materials, but it's the Combine materials. They're really fun to work with. They're very pretty.
Yeah, I have not tried building since they put in those new, what would you call it, textures, the Kinos textures. But maybe I should. I'm not really, see, that's the thing is I'm not, like, you to ask Kailas, I'm not the color guy. I have horrible matching, like, what colors go with which colors contrast well with the other ones. But I also haven't started playing around with it since we've gotten the ability to paste without air, so that you can put your template into existing, terrain, and it doesn't like turn it into like a giant hole around your template. And that was one of the problems I was having when I was trying to build earlier. So like that fixes one of my major complaints. I just haven't gotten around to it because I'm waiting for them to wipe the server, including the claims and the characters, and that was like what I was getting at to the like any big news coming out this week. And so yes, if you have not heard, the big Landmark news coming out this week is that they announced the week of the claim wipe, server wipe, character wipe. They just did not announce the exact date, and it's going to be the week of May 4th.
It's so hard not to say May the 4th be with you. Every time I read it.
Yep.
So I'll go ahead and link that in channel so that people can... I'm not making it up. We actually have sources.
Go figure, we research things.
Maybe a little. So then the The other bit of ECAS news also coming out Landmark this week is that the Keynote winners have all been notified. We're not going to do a highlight of them this week, but next week we're definitely going to do a highlight of all of. I'm not going to say all because I have no idea how many there are and how much time it would take to get through all of them. But we're going to do a highlight segment on our favorite Keynote winners. And that should be exciting. I know that I thought that the quality really had hit like a peak come the Karen builds, simply because it was very technical with all of the different intricate. I don't even know what you would call it, the hashes and stuff like that, because it was supposed to be more open to air. And I think
the lattice work.
The ogre lattice, that was what I'm thinking of. I keep trying to think of arbor or something or other, but yeah, the lattice work. And like the ogre builds all looked great, but I don't know if they were necessarily as technical challenging to build. They didn't seem to be.
I think you were able to build bigger for the ogres, therefore you didn't have to have like the tiny little like micro voxel detail. I could be wrong, but it seemed like everything was like bigger, chunkier, like girthier. Everything was just, ogre sized.
Why does it look like Tanlin's trying not to laugh?
He is trying not to laugh.
I've got the
because I said girthier.
Yeah. So yeah, and then after, and we were talking about this a little bit beforehand about the open beta, where the game goes free to anybody who wants to log in and play it. We're definitely looking forward to that happening. We know that the steps that they're putting in, including the server wipe and the claim wipe, is one of the things that they have to do before the open beta, but we don't know necessarily if it's going to be the servers come up after the fourth wipe and it's now open beta. Yeah, see, I want to, but I don't. But see, the thing is that if you knew the game was going into open beta in less than 2 weeks, like, wouldn't you be pushing that message out that, hey, get ready for open beta, Landmark for everybody, and they haven't, and so that kind of makes me question like the whole. How much time is it going to be from May the 4th until the open beta? Is it going to be instant? Is it going to be an hour or two? Or is it going to be a week or two? Or maybe even a month or two? And I don't know. I'm thinking week to month.
Yeah, but we already know that they're kind of bad at advertising, because they kind of started advertising this other game, and then they haven't given us that game yet.
Would they do that?
Yeah, I think maybe they're just not advertising this one, but they keep advertising this other one. I don't know what they're doing.
EverQuest Next or Bust, yeah, definitely.
I didn't say it. It could have been any game.
I'll say it. Like, I am because this is like the start of convention season, right? It's the summer, the weather's nice, people like to travel and vacation, and all of these gaming people, gaming industries are like really pushing their brand out there to, the Star Wars celebration was last weekend. And that's where we found out about the new Star Wars movie and the new Star Wars Battlefront. And so, like, now the convention season is really going to start ramping up, and we're going to see a lot of news. And I am not interested in any of it. I am so, like, give me EverQuest Next, or I don't want to hear about it. Anything else? I don't just mean, like, from Daybreak. I mean from any game. I don't know if there's necessarily anything out there that it would really, I don't know, that would get me to play it for a long period of time. So, there we go. The Keynote winners, they're doing a highlight of that next week. So that wraps up the ECAS news and kicks off into to finish our conversation from last week about the harvesting changes. I am so glad that Lucy is back this week, because we knew that she had a lot to say on the topic, and she, things came up and she couldn't, she wasn't available last week, but like definitely worth bringing up again. She's our biggest builder. So where do you want to start? Do you need to scream? Do you need to yell a little bit first, or
first I'm gonna take a drink.
right? Okay.
And then I'm gonna take a moment to cry quietly to myself.
Hey, Lucy. I bought one of those wine glasses last week for the sole purpose of being able to drink on the show with that wine glass while you were gone.
I saw you and you poured soda into your cup, and I was like, okay, because I rewatched the show on YouTube, and it was so funny.
I broke
You made me
it.
laugh. You actually made me snort my drink, if that makes you feel better.
And then I broke it.
No!
That's what broke the other day. I was wondering.
You didn't know.
Wine glasses don't actually have a very long life with me, but these are my favorite because they're massive. They're like the size of my head. You could fit so much in
Hold that up to your head. That was, oh, my lord.
It seriously is a massive cup. Like, I'm not
Or
even
you're
joking.
just tiny.
A little bit of column A, little bit of column B, maybe a little bit of both. But they are massive cups. So, yeah, crafting.
If I take off my headset, it's just because I have a migraine.
I will try to keep it calm.
On the DL?
On the DL, yeah. So, I first want to say that when we were first introduced to Landmark Crafting over a year ago, there's a developer diary on it. We were introduced to Landmark Crafting before that, but in January of last year, there was a developer diary introducing crafting in Landmark, and they said that there was going to be depth, and we were going to be crafting a lot, so they wanted it to be fun and kind of like a cool system for you to play with, and now they're taking it all away. They're taking away, let's see, salvaging, upgrading, random item quality, and ether shards are being taken away. I get it. I get that there was a huge outcry, but I feel like it's also taking away from that everybody needs everybody else feel that they said that they were going for. Like, explorers don't need builders if they don't care about their claims. Now builders don't need explorers. They don't need ether shards to build. So, who's talking to who? Who's trading what? Why are they trading? Basically, they're not. They don't need to anymore.
Yeah, and that was my thought from last week too. Is that, like, I don't want to be a builder. I don't have it in me. I don't have design in me. And so, like, I enjoy crafting and I enjoy harvesting. And all of a sudden now, builders don't need a harvester, because, like, any of the materials they need, they can just, like, they can build without those materials. Which kind of means that I'm relying on crafting, and I understand that they removed a lot of the grind factor of the crafting because you don't need as many materials, you don't need as many recipes. Just hit the build button and off you go. They didn't have any expertise required for crafting in Landmark anyway, so it doesn't really affect anybody. It doesn't affect me because all they did was remove the unfun elements of it, and it didn't make it any more fun. It just made it less unfun, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, really. It's like they removed the tedious parts. That's what they did. They removed the tedious parts, but they didn't add any elements to it that would make it more interesting or complex or fun to play around with.
Yeah. I don't even know where to go. The fact that they took away random stats, and that they removed the relics, they removed the salvaging. It's totally a removal of the crafting depth that they had given us. Like, maybe it was frustrating to get exactly the stats you wanted in an item. Sure, it was. But did it provide something to do in a sandbox game? Yes. Did you feel accomplished when you finally got, the pick that you want with the stats that you want? Yes. Was it cool and I saw this happen on Twitter. People going, oh my god, look at the pick I crafted. It's totally legendary. And yeah, they took that away from us too. Like, we were having fun with it. Why?
I think that some of Kyla's only tweets about Landmark involve her crafting up that legendary pick.
And then I got irritated when I couldn't make that happen for other things. And the stats that I wanted, and then I'd waste, I can't tell you how many resources, because it was, oh, look, it's random. Oh, look, it's random. Oh, look, it's random.
Right, and that's my complaint, is that I don't like randomization, because it's very hard to like when you're trying to craft for somebody or craft for specific things, randomness is not your friend. Things that limit the amount of randomness are cool. Like if you can choose like a couple of the qualities, or if you can improve the range, that's awesome. But when it's completely random, it really puts a limit on being able to predict the outcome of what you're making. And I remember before they put in all of they had the 3 base weapons in the game, and they were adding in the armor and stuff like that. And Kylest and I were all like, oh, you know what we need to do? We need to hold on to all of our components for epic upgrades. Because as soon as those go in the game, and other people who are adventuring and want like those epic weapons, we would be able to provide them with the upgrades to them. And the problem is that there was just never any, like, we had to go adventuring to get those recipe drops, and there was never a compelling reason, because I don't like cave diving.
I love cave diving. I love it. As you guys can probably tell, whoever follows me on Twitter, when they first introduced caves, and that's all I tweeted about. I'm like, oh, found a chest! Oh, found a chest! Oh, found a chest! But I think, did you guys start making your picks before or after they introduced the relic system, where you could upgrade certain stats, and you could upgrade to the next, like, you could upgrade from green to blue to legendary?
After.
We did both.
Well, both, yeah.
Because I think that they made it a lot better when they added the relics, and like with just enough resources, you could upgrade it. Like, you could upgrade any pick that you made. But so I think that took a lot of the randomness out of it. Yes, the stats were still random, but you could totally, you didn't have to keep crafting the same pick over and over and over again to get a legendary. You just had to upgrade it.
Yeah, but you had to keep crafting it over and over and over again to get the right
it was
stats.
Like for example, the blue. Everybody wanted the blue run speed trinket that you could use, and
it's legendary. They actually created. There was a legendary version of it too.
Well, there was no way to upgrade it into a legendary, and when you made one, it had a range of stats, and it could be green quality or blue quality, and in the blue quality range, it could be, it could be a low end blue quality or a high end blue quality. And so when it was like, oh hey, I have enough materials to make one of these trinkets, but I have no way of promising the person who wants it made, and it would be awesome if there was something that the crafter knew, like the expertise required or the time that they invested into that part of the game, so that they could guarantee a higher return on it. Like if I make it with this forge, it has this range, but because I've spent so much time in harvesting and crafting that I've upgraded my forge, and if I make it on my forge instead of your generic forge, we have the opportunity to increase its starting stats so that you're more likely to get a better trinket or whatever. That's where the crafter has an advantage. The crafter has set himself apart, or herself apart from everybody else. It's like, I developed and spent my time in this part of the game, and they've like eliminated that, so that anybody who spent like the 10-15 minutes to make a crafting station can now make it with the same amount of expertise as the person that's been doing it for like months. And that means that completely devalues anybody who goes into MMOs trying to say like, I want to be a crafter. And I know that that this is not part of the EverQuest Next system, but it doesn't give me a warm fuzzy when I think about it.
I think, I'm not sure if you saw or if viewers have saw, but the forum post that we're talking about, the crafting and harvesting changes, it was edited this Friday to add the fact that they're going to have item mods, which is apparently different from random stats, so that the fast or biting or whatever that sometimes showed up on your picks or whatever that you made, those are still going to be there. And that that you're going to be able to improve them somehow, but they don't say. Or wait, they're going to be improvements on them, basically. So I'm not sure why they left this out of the original post, because I would have ranted far less hard when I first read that if they had told me that there was going to be at least some way for me to customize my gear. Or my harvesting tools.
Exactly. And you know, it's those type of things where you don't publish it, or but if like you make your pick, and when you made your pick, you can make it a fast one, or you can make it a biting one. You can add these secondary attributes to it through some way that's not documented and published on the website. That is cool. That's where crafting becomes a little bit more interesting, because there's an element of discovery. There's an element of you know, a crafter documenting his experiment so that he knows, like, hey, if I want a biting, this is the materials I need. If I want to make it fast, then I need, you know, these materials so that I can make it, you know, whatever. And again, it adds to that whole complexity. And you're right, I completely missed it.
It also helps cater to people's playstyles too. For example, like as I was going through and testing different picks that I made with random stats, I realized that I prefer a pick that goes faster and has a larger target area that it destroys, because I feel like I make more progress than one that hits harder, even though it might have the end result. Like I figured out how to make the most out of the tools that I have to make it the most fun for me, if that makes sense.
Completely. You know, maybe you want to like go in and harvest, and you want a fast pick because you're like you know, just all over the place, whack 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 whack.
Well, that if anybody knows me, then that definitely sounds like me.
Oh, I was gonna say, I thought you were going somewhere else when it was all. Of course, Tamlin would know about whacking, but
no,
So, but then there's the other person that's got their pick, and and they just want to smash things as hard as they can.
Sounds like some other people that I know.
I love looking at Kyla's face right now. She is trying so hard.
So, moving on, one thing that I was actually really upset about, that I'm probably going to go on the second biggest rant about, is that monsters and chests no longer drop combat items or recipes. They have taken recipes out of the game. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you take away my fun? Because there's literally no point to open a chest anymore. If you can't get a random cool drop, a super rare item, what's the point?
Yeah, see, the thing is that even the recipes I had, it was hard to come up with like a reason why somebody would want one thing or the other. I would just wish that they, you know, we really, I mean, for equipment and things to matter outside of the realm of harvesting, because really you have harvesting and you have combat, and when it comes to armor and stuff like that, we really need to see like the refinements to the combat system, so that we can then take a second look at the armor and the equipment that you can use to get a gauge of what combat is going to actually look and feel like. And so, but without the rarity of armor drops, it just feels like you're kind of right that it removes that fun element of discovery.
Well, also the thing where, you know, if you got a recipe that like your friends didn't have, like we had a shared chest on my guild's claims where everybody put all their crafting books, and you could take them out and trade them, and everybody would get recipes that they didn't have, and it was just like you can help other people, and you could have been able to trade them as soon as the auction house went live. Like, why? Why would you take that out? Why would you discourage players from interacting with each other? Why would you make it just go to the crafting station, make all the armor you want?
Right, but I think that there's still going to be the red Victorian dress that they had put in the game that was only found in chests. That's still going to be there, right?
I don't remember that.
I think that there are going to be some outfits that are only going to be found in, not recipes, not like I learned how to make something from something I found in a chest. I'm talking about like the red Victorian dress that you can only find in a box, or in not a box.
I thought that was
chest.
one of the. I thought that was one of the boxes that you bought with Station Cash.
Right, but I thought that there was two different varieties. There were some
that you could only find in chests in caves. At one point in time or another, there were outfits that the only way to obtain them were in caves, or colors.
That's the
outfits.
The treasure seeker's garb.
Mm-hmm. Right. So there is your reason for continuing to explore, because as the game adds in more assets, then all they have to do is make this is the treasure seeker's variation of that outfit. Go find it.
It was cool when I was exploring and killing monsters or whatever to see that little gold like flash above my head whenever I grabbed a recipe that I didn't have before. I'm like, oh, I got something new. What was it? Like, that's cool. Like, now I can craft something new. Now I'm just going to have an achievement panel, and ta-da, you made it. You don't even get any internet points for it.
I love me my
internet points.
What?
You too.
And internet points. They matter.
Yeah. All the internet points. I want them all.
So I have notes on a Google Doc that I'm looking at my phone. So if you keep seeing me do this, that's why I'm looking at my notes that I made.
Well,
I
tell you what the next one is. The next one is the Founder's Pickaxe. Oh,
Founder's Pickaxe? Or we skip fixes. Picks, axes, and sickles can now be recrafted at significantly lower cost. So, just dumbing down crafting even more. Which, to be fair, you have no idea how many times I made and made and made and remade and made again those stupid, what are they called? Messenger signets, I think? The run speed ones?
That's where
when
we
I
were
was
talking
doing
about.
my PvP, like RP PvP battles, I must have made literally thousands of them in order to get the legendary ones to give away as prizes.
That's what we were talking about, like how it sucked because there was no way there was no quality control. There was no way for you to control the quality, and so I would have liked to see the game become more complex, where they added things that you could do to improve your chance, even if it was at one time. Like, I've seen other games where it's like, if you add this material to the recipe, it improves like a 10 or 15% chance of increasing the quality of it, or it's a guaranteed quality increase, something like that. But to remove all of the randomization is like, I don't know. I mean, on one hand, it makes it easier to get a baseline. On the other hand, it takes away a little bit of the fun. And when it comes to pick and harvesting, I don't know what to say about that. Other than I think that when it comes to getting from one tier into the next tier, I remember because I mean I have to state that I only went through progression once, and it was the beginning of open beta, or the beginning of closed beta, and so I haven't gone through the progression again. But I remember being really frustrated because it was like, I wanted to be able to find a claim, stake my claim, and upgrade all of my tools and crafting materials at that claim. And I didn't want to have to go back to the Portal Spire where they had all of the other crafting stations, but you couldn't. There was I don't remember if you couldn't because it was difficult or if you couldn't because it was impossible. All I remember is that I wanted to be able to log into the game, make my character, run out into the world, and stake my claim and build from where I made my claim at. And I didn't want to have to do a whole lot of traveling back to the Portal Spire. And if these changes that they've made to the crafting tools make it easier for that to happen, then I think it's a net positive.
Yes, and that's what I finally came to rest on when they told me, when I read that they are giving all first level characters a sickle to go out into the world with, because I remember being so frustrated going out into the world, be like, why can't I harvest this plant? It's lighting up. Oh, you need to go craft a sickle, but you have to have like tier 3 tools before you can even get the material to create a sickle to start harvesting plants. So I think it's a great idea that they have given players a sickle that they can go out into the world with, so that they don't encounter obstacles as soon as they log in.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That, like, maybe a net positive.
Now we have come to the one that I'm gonna proper rant about.
Instead of improper?
Right. Because I was doing it wrong before. I don't know, but building materials that previously used dirt, sand, snow, ice, and common stone can now be placed for free. What? What? Does this literally mean that I never have to harvest dirt, sand, stone, snow, or ice ever again?
And
why? Why?
I can't answer that, and that's where they came up with the, like, all you can do with the harvested dirt, sand, and stuff that you harvest up is sift it now.
So literally a builder could sit on their tiny little square, away from everybody else, never interacting with a single other person, never going out and putting their pick in the dirt, and build.
Pretty much, yeah.
That is fucking bullshit. I'm sorry, but that is fucking bullshit, Daybreak. That is stupid, and this is a huge mistake.
And you couldn't you could say that you could harvest them by just holding down one button and going AFK, but no, you couldn't, because I remember helping out Krona. I remember helping out Cody Voss, I believe. I forget which one of the Codys it was, because they were trying to build, and their building requirements were like, I need 500,000 stone. And do you know how long it takes to harvest up 500,000 stone? It was not something that you could do in like an hour. I broke it up when I was helping people out into, like, you know, I'm going to harvest stone for about 30 minutes at a time, and I would come up with, you know, a couple 100,000, and I would deliver it to them. And that's where, like, I wanted to see improvements in the trading system, because there was no way to get 100,000 stone easily from one person to the other, because the mail system, I think you only...
shit.
Yeah, the mail system you couldn't do. If you could open up a trading window, that was cool, but the easiest way for them to do it was for them to temporarily give you permission on their claim. And so you'd build, like, a huge, you know, stone block, and then they would just, you know, you would put it in place.
They would delete it and get all the materials.
And they would delete it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, so, like, I was like, oh, I can harvest for you. I can get you all the materials you need to help build. And I was like, nope, not anymore. Now it's, yeah. I don't know if it's bullshit. Maybe it makes it easier or more fun.
For who?
For the builders.
Who are they catering their game to right now? Because they're not catering their game to the casual crafter or the casual builder. Because the casual builder can get as much stone as they need in not that much time. What they're catering to is the top 10% of builders who make these massive structures that now don't need to leave their claims. They literally don't need to interact with anybody else in the community in order for them to do their thing. I could almost understand if it was only templates that they allowed you to place for free, if it was made from common materials. I could almost understand that. Almost. But massive structures that you build in the world should require massive amounts of materials. I should look at it and be like, oh my god, that took so much effort. Not just like copy pasting the same arches over and over again to create this like detailed wall, but like actually going out and like getting the stuff that you need. Because they have literally made 3/4 of the materials that you build with completely free.
Oh, pick me. You want to know why they're doing it? Because if they gave it to the people who are building Kinos, didn't give it to everybody else would have a tissy fit. So they're making that small group of people that are building their cities for them and not having to pay them for all of the artwork that they're doing for them.
Oh, I guess that would be going... Well, didn't they say... What was their reasoning before about not going into a creative mode? Because remember, people were comparing it to Landmark in Minecraft and being like, it's like... They didn't want it to be too much like Minecraft with creative mode?
No, now it's The Sims with all the cheat codes activated. Just go build, fine, do whatever you want. Like, don't worry about money or actually going out into the world and seeing anything ever. Just build whatever you want. And somebody in chat said, Dorker says maybe they want to sell the game to kindergartners. I can guarantee you that a kindergartner can harvest dirt and stone.
Well, if they...
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I've ran into some kindergartners on Minecraft servers who could probably build better than I can.
What they're doing is they're making other people irrelevant to builders yet again. You don't need people who love to go out and harvest idly, just farming stuff and selling that stone for coppers, because they will, because they have tons of it. They don't need it. Like, I was harvesting, when you harvest all of the other materials on other tiers, you get that dirt and stone and ice and snow in your inventory naturally, because, you know, you just get it from the surrounding vein that you're harvesting. And you would literally sell it for coppers. I know this. It would have been so common that it wouldn't have been worth it to really farm it to sell, but now it's literally obsolete.
Right, and I was giving it away, because I had so much excess of it, but that was because what would happen is that like one person that I was trying to help out with needed a whole bunch of topaz to make lumicite to make, you know, glowing green, and so I'd run out and I would help them and to get their glowing green lumicite, and as a consequence I'd have all that dirt. So you're right, you would get all of that lumicite to just by you would get all of the dirt that you needed just by going out and getting like lumicite or whatever. The issue I have with that though is that if there are those builders out there that are only using common materials, and wood is not yet one of the common building materials. So if you want to do anything with wood, you still have to go out and harvest that, right? And then they also removed the heartwood components.
Let's just easy mode everything.
So let's your crafting system was bordering really freaking amazing, and you pretty much just destroyed it for me. It was the last thread of anything I gave a fuck about in that game.
And I mean, I get it to a certain point, but I liked being a person that could facilitate those type of, like, okay, this person needs lumicite, this person needs stone. The people that were doing the massive stone structures, I needed a whole lot of stone at one point in time simply because I was trying to build a completely level of combat arena, and that was one of the, and like we can go back when we talk about continents. One of the problems was there was no big open flat spaces. Everything had a slope to it. So you had to, the first thing you wanted to do if you wanted to build an arena was kind of flatten everything out, and you needed a lot of dirt or stone to do that. I don't know.
Well, landlord just said that you aren't needed anymore, that your services have been terminated.
Terminated?
They gave you a pink slip.
And that's really my point on this. It's not even that you're catering to one subset of players. It's not even that you're making everything easy mode. It's that nobody needs anybody anymore. The builders do not need anyone to build. The explorers don't need anybody else. The crafters don't need anybody else. Nobody needs each other. Where's the community? Where's all of this, communal, you'll have to talk to other players, you'll have to trade with other players that we were promised. It's gone now.
Should I draw a picture of the builders and the crafters and the adventurers and a picture of the sun coming up over the dawn, over the horizon, beating on all of them?
No.
Yes. You should draw a Venn diagram for how they intersect. It'll just be circles.
Oh, I can do that.
But anyway, I know my opinion isn't very popular. I know that everybody in chat is telling me, well, why not make it free? Because you don't have to leave your claim. That was my experiment when I started building. Well, I basically built so much cool stuff with just the materials that are going to be free that you don't need anything else.
Yeah, and then I have been wanting to get back into a community type build, and all I'm doing is waiting for the wipe to happen, because it doesn't make any sense to be building right now, because that wipe is upcoming. But afterwards, I don't know. I was hoping to get involved in a community where they had the builders building and the harvesters harvesting, because I remember and get ready to take a drink in my Vanguard experience. That's what happened. There was the people that would run around and harvest all the granite we needed to make our guild hall, and then the people that could make the granite bricks would make the granite bricks. And it's a long, intense process, but everybody got to do a little bit of one of the things that they enjoyed doing.
I helped.
She helped.
Oh my god, I actually did help in that. Vanguard. Holy crap, I got to bring up Vanguard.
Wait, do we drink if I brings up Vanguard? I don't think we do.
I don't think so. Did you play Vanguard at all?
Never. No. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say I didn't think so. I think, but see, yeah. I think that they had that crafting system was a little bit too grindy. Okay, I'll take that back. Was a lot too much grindy, but at the same time, it had a lot of built-in interdependence, and it had a lot of unique features. No one can see that. Oh, there we go.
I can see that. Yeah, that's a beautiful Venn diagram.
That's the shittiest Venn diagram I have ever drawn.
I like that the adventurers and the builders kind of look like butts. I'm totally an adventurer, by the way, so I'm in the butt Venn diagram. No, it's beautiful.
All right.
Nice butt.
So we have 10 minutes before break. Well, 13 to be exact. And we wanted to hit the claim limits, or did we want to do?
I still have more.
Yeah, you still have more. Let's let Lucy finish. She wrote this huge long thing.
I think it's 10 pages long.
It really was. Snowman, that is absolutely 100% true. The best crafting system ever was indeed Star Wars Galaxies. And guess who else ruined that one?
I'll try to speed this. So they removed a bunch of crafting stations. Good, because there was way too many, and I was getting irritated with trying to make them work on an RP claim. Basically, I'm glad.
I agree. Well, I had a guild hall with a second floor, so I had outdoor crafting stations and indoor crafting stations, and it was there was just so many of them, and it was I didn't want to put them upstairs, but I was I might have to put a crafting station upstairs, and then people would never see it because they'd be like, stairs? This is an MMO. People don't run upstairs in MMOs. Everything is on the ground floor. But
unless you've crafted an EQ2 in one of their little like they have little crafting areas like in basements underneath buildings and stuff like that, and there's like different floors for every single thing that you try to craft, and then the auction house is all the way at the top, which they call a broker. It's all the way at the top and you can't reach your bank, and it's basically awful. But everybody has guild halls now, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was going to guild hall. But there was no crafting stations in Vanguard guild halls. But I do remember that when I started crafting in Vanguard, one of the things I looked for was an outpost where you could stand next to the taskmaster and your crafting station and hit both of them without having to move. And it was like, that was like one of my secrets for like the first month or two of the game, because it was a huge deal. Like because at the start of the game, the crafting taskmasters didn't move; they just stood in one spot. And you run into a lot of botters, because if you could script it, it made it really easy. So to combat the botters, they made the taskmasters get up and move around. But the building that I found, because I was a gnome, it was in the gnomish city. The building was so small that the taskmaster, even if they were on a path that they roamed around in, you could still get to them without actually having to move your character and hit your crafting station. So it was like, woohoo! I don't know. I was younger then. I was more easily excited by stupid shit.
I'm still easily excited stupid shit, so. Okay, speed through this. So all recipes now only require 0.25 seconds to craft. Why? You're not making 15 bajillion barrels anymore. You're not sitting there for 5 hours. It's all on a prop pallet. Why?
I don't know. I have no answer for you. Maybe it's so that you can fill it all up. I don't know when I'm ever going to need 50 barrels, but damn it, if I need a barrel, the last thing I want to have to do is run to a crafting station and make it. So I'll just be like, bam, 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 and I'll make as many of them as I can, as quickly as I can, and then get on with it. I don't know.
But with the prop palette, now you just right-click and place.
Yeah, but do you need to be, like, if you have, you don't even need the crafting station anymore? Yeah, I don't know.
But anyway, it's just something I don't understand. Because now we're basically spending even less time crafting than we did before. So, what happened to that? We already talked about the sickle, which is a good change. Good change. Starting players should be able to go out into the world and not come against obstacles. Harvest rating has been removed from all axes and trees, meaning all trees can be chopped by all axes. Good change for everybody. Kind of takes away a little bit from the Trailblazers, because I think that was one of the cool things about their pickaxe. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, it was like one of the perks that it could chop all trees, but fine. It makes sense that all axes can chop trees. It's an axe. I get it.
Well, now they made it so that you're beginning, like, you're going to talk about it next.
Yes, I am!
Right,
the Founder's Pickaxe has been given a stat realignment and can now be upgraded. Oh my god, thank you. Because this is a status item. It should be a status item until endgame.
Right, and that's where I was thinking that if you remove the... you're right about removing the rating from the axe, meaning that you have to level up your axe in order to chop down the different... wood, but now any axe can chop down any wood. It kind of degrades what the pickaxe, the Founder's Pickaxe, but then they increase the value of the pickaxe by making it upgradable so that you can carry it with you to the end game progression. And I think that like it not just balances out, it still makes the changes they've done to the pickaxe that much better for the starting player. There's even more reason to want to get the Settler's Pad for that pickaxe, because you're going to be able to, like, this is my axe, there are many like it, but this one is mine, and I carry it with me until I'm...
axe! I had to say it. I'm sorry. I had to. But it should be a stat. And honestly, the pickaxe is the coolest thing ever, because it's both a pick and an axe, and now that's going to matter. You're not going to have to carry around 15 million tools in your bag, so haha, I have one more open bag slot than everybody else.
And still, they've taken away legendaries, so...
So last thing, and it's one of my ranty things, and I'm sorry. They have changed the Mastercraft bracer. No, I mean, some of the changes have been good. Some of them have been good. The Mastercraft bracer is not what it originally was. It is no longer an item that helps you boost the stat floor for creating cooler items. Maybe it's silly, but it's not what I bought it for. That's not why I bought the Master. That's not why I paid real money, because they basically told me that there was going to be a certain way to play where you could be a cool crafter and you could have this item that boosted the ability to make really cool rare items and possibly sell them on the market house. Like, that's what I was thinking, that I was totally going to have an edge in crafting, and I was going to use less materials, or it would take less time, but I could totally be a crafter in the game, and I could make those rare items, and I could have something that I could sell, that I could market, that I could be good at in the game. And they completely took away from me. 100% they took it out of the game.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
Well,
They deserve that.
I don't like it. It would be one thing if it was an item in the game that they changed to fit the new crafting system. For example,
you paid money for that.
Yeah, exactly. I paid real money for that, and they've totally made that way of playing not viable anymore.
The harvesting boosting is kind of irrelevant. I can see where, like, it doesn't make you a better crafter. There is no reason to get into crafting in the game because everybody has everything. You hit one button and you make it. So, but I don't know.
It's not a master crafter bracelet. It's a master builder bracelet now, because now you can make more of the things that you used to build with. I promise, guys, that is my last ranty thing, and the other things we're going to talk about, I have basically nothing but praise for.
And the next one is me getting more ranty than you. And I'm going to throw that up real quick. We might be a little bit late going to break, but I want to get over the claim limit changes before we go to a break and come back. Basically, and I didn't understand this because they did the Landmark Live or whatever or the workshop show, wherever they talked about the changes that they were doing to the claim system and the claim management and how you upgrade how many claims you have. They did that while I was at work, so I wasn't able to catch it live, but I caught on Twitter that they were upgrading it so that you could have, like, what is it, like 8 root claims and 3 expand, whatever. It's a lot. Like, you went from
8 root claims and 24 add-ons with every single expansion that you buy from the marketplace, which I will be doing.
From the marketplace, and that is what I missed. I completely missed that because, again, I didn't catch it live. I caught it on Twitter that they were increasing the limit, and I'm like, that's awesome. That's what I've been hoping for. And then, like, later on, somebody replied back to what I had said and been like, yeah, but it really depends on how they price it. And I was like, price it. And yeah, so it's going to be on the Station Cash store. I don't know. I haven't had as much time to look into that as I'd like to, or maybe just directly ask the developers if it's going to be a purchased item only, or if it's a purchase to make it more convenient.
The way it was worded.
Yeah, the way it was worded.
It's purchase only.
And this is the first time I felt like there is a real paywall, and that's my complaint. Before, everything that you can buy was kind of a convenience item, or it was a cosmetic item. So you could, even if you didn't want to spend the real money, that just means that you had to go about it the long way. Spend more time crafting or creating to get the thing that you wanted, or to be able to play the way that you wanted to. But it wasn't as a matter of not being able to simply until you paid the money. This is the first time where it feels like, wow, if you want to have a super mega huge build, you have to pay. And that's.
But are they increasing the 3x3x3 claim size, claim block? Because I don't think they are.
They're not.
So you can still have the same size claims that you could before. So you can't have a more massive build. You could just have more.
Right, and I suppose if they immediately go into an open beta, where as long as you have an email account that you're willing to register, you can create as many more accounts so that you can have like one character with a 3x3x3 block, and then you have another character with a 3x3x3 block, and then another character with a 3x3x3 block. Eventually, you'll have as many or more than one account could have on its own, even by paying. So I can kind of get that. But again, we're in the preparing for the unknown element of it.
Fugazi in chat says that it's increasing. No, it's not. Never mind.
No, it's and I can find the tweet from Terry that says it's still 3x3x3, which is fun.
You can build more vertically. I see.
Well,
so technically, it can be bigger.
Well, you used to be able to only have 9 total claims. You had 1 route, and you can expand 8 in any direction, so that you could do like 1 over 1 up or 1 over 1 down. But you couldn't go more than 2 claims away from your route claim, and that has not changed as far as I understand.
Maybe I'm just not understand. I'm not good at math, so I'm not really. Geometry was my worst subject, so I'm not good at picturing shapes in my mind. So maybe what he's saying makes sense to somebody else, but it doesn't make sense to me. But either way, I will be purchasing every single claim and add-on that I can have because I don't care. Take my money. I want more.
And again, it's freaking Landmark. There is no win. There is no end game. So it's not a pay-to-win argument. It's a paywall. And that's like go play Wizards 101, where you have like you can play around in the free-to-play area, but if you want to go into the more specialized area, you have to pay to get into them. And this is all it is it's like there are certain types of gameplay that are excluded unless you're willing to pay. But if you're not willing to pay, it doesn't mean that you can't win the game or play the game. It just means that you have to play in a different manner than everybody else. And again, it's a moot point if you can still have the same claim structures if you're willing to have more than one account, I'd have to see it implemented, because the thing is that they're saying that up to 8 root claims with more expansions. If you're not willing to pay, if you can only have the 1 route with the 8 expansions, the way it is right now, I don't know. We'll have to see.
I have a bunch of questions that go along with this topic. Basically, when can we link claims with others? Will there always be a buffer zone between your personal root claims? Yeah. Can we eventually have a setting that allows other people to hook their claims to ours and ignore the buffer? Will we ever have guild claims, or will players always have to donate their space?
Yeah, and that was the other thing that I've been asking for, is that right now the guild function in Landmark is worthless. All it is a separate custom chat channel. And I've said, like, if you want to make guilds more interesting in Landmark, make it so that you can create a guild permission level on your claim, so that anybody in the guild can build with these permissions automatically, so that the person that's running the claim, the owner of the claim, doesn't have to go in and micromanage each individual player as their own person. That they can be like, you are in my guild, everybody in my guild can have access to these functions. And that's incredibly important when it comes to things like chests. Because the last thing you want to do is like invite somebody into the guild and then like, okay, now we have to make sure that your permissions are set on all of the guild claims so that you can interact with them. And that would make a guild feel a little bit more like a community rather than just a customized channel.
Not only that, being able to set certain permissions for certain objects as guild only. So this is a door that's locked, except if you're in the guild.
And see, that makes it cool and interesting.
Totally.
Especially when it's like the secret bookshelf that slides out of the way.
Yeah! I definitely don't have any of those on our guild claim. Seriously, go to Sealand Town, click around, you'll find stuff. It's cool.
You'll find stuff.
But I want, as a person who manages group builds, please, for the love of Christ, give me the ability to just say all guildies, because I am sick of individually adding people to be able to build on 17 different fucking claims.
Absolutely. And
wow.
And that's the, you know what? And maybe the whole like root claim pay won't matter if I'm involved in a community and I'm not trying to manage the claims. I'm not like the guild leader that has the claim. I'm just a builder or a community member on a claim, because whoever is running the guild would be like, I'll take care of all of that. Don't worry about it. Kailas, claim limits, your thoughts?
Don't care. The only reason to care about claim limits is if you're building on them. I don't build, ergo, don't give a fuck.
See,
you won't need to anymore. They're gonna give you a free house.
True.
Don't you have a house templated?
Fuck you.
But that the claim limits might matter a little bit more when it comes to like that, because you're going to be able to claim surface caves, and that's like
I can claim a surface cave.
Yeah,
I could be okay with that.
Yeah, they that was one of the things to come out of the latest update, is you'll be able to claim surface caves.
But I still can't play a dark elf.
Nope.
Boo.
Can't play a gnome either.
Tell me, yeah, but I don't give a fuck. Tell me when I can play a dark elf and claim a surface cave.
No, they've come out again and said that Landmark is a human game.
Shocker, I am human. Give me a freaking dark elf.
I don't have any sitting at my desk, otherwise I'd hand it over.
Okay. All right, here's what we need to do. We need to find you a graphic designer and a hacker to change the codes in the game so that you can look like a dark elf. Simple.
Funny. They genuinely do not understand that if they said, hey Kai, we will let you pay 20 real world dollars and here, have dark elf skins, I actually would be compelled to play more often.
If it was a purple dark elf skin? Or am I not supposed to bring that up anymore?
You're not supposed to bring that up anymore.
Alright,
no.
I'm not allowed rants about
Paying
the fact
more for
that
purple.
one color of clothing costs $20 and the other fucking color of the clothing only costs $18, because purple is far more fucking popular than white or black.
Oh no, I got her started.
Right? No, it's stupid. Why isn't the same outfit in every color the same fucking price? What the hell?
Thank you!
Also, why don't I have female versions of the outfit posted so that I can see them before I fucking buy them? I thought that the formal wear, or the casual formal wear when I first bought it, would have adorable little girl suspenders, but they don't. They have a stupid fucking neck bow and a goddamn bows on the goddamn shoes, and it's stupid.
Do your toes show too?
Oh, probably. I think she's wearing socks, so it doesn't matter. It's stupid. Right. I wanted suspenders.
Where's the tangential alarm? Alright, so...
Sorry, that means we have to drink.
We're gonna go to break. We have 2 videos for break. One of them Lucy picked out. One of them I picked out. Should we tell them who picked out what? Or
no, they'll know.
Okay, they'll know. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I don't know if they will.
Just test them when we get back. Let's see.
They'll know. They'll know. All right, who wants to camp us out?
Lucy.
Okay, camping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.